guys have this new approach at being a dad. You guys are taking the comedy part of it. Where the name? What's the behind the scenes on where you guys' name came from?
The name came from way before we even started doing sketches or even the podcast, which came first.
But after we had kids, there's a window
Where when there's so many things about becoming a parent where the blinders come off once you are a parent, that you're just like, oh, I didn't see this angle of it at all. And one of the big ones for us was that Evan and I are also actors. We're here in LA, so we auditioned for commercials and stuff. And for commercials specifically, anytime we're going up, we went to the zoo a lot. Again, pre-podcast, we with the kids and stuff. And he's like, oh, I can't go tomorrow. I have an audition. What are you auditioning for? He's like, just like a dumb dad. And that's what we would just say to each other, because like every commercial is just like a dad like cleaning the toilet, and his wife's like, is that your toothbrush? He's like, oh, wash it. And it's like, oh my God, it's just every commercial. So it was just like, that's just what dads are just portrayed as, is the dumb dads. And also we grew up with was like the dumb dads. Like a dad couldn't make a peanut butter and jelly without burning the house down.
Yeah.
So
Or has no idea what the teacher's name is, no idea
Right.
what the doctor's name is, like none of that stuff.
and that was just kind of like embraced and laughed at and enjoyed. And like, obviously there's some comedy to it. Those shows that we grew up with are great. But today as parents and stuff, it's like Evan and I are both stay-at-home dads, very involved, on the PTA, volunteering for things. And it's like, it's not our brains. It's just how like society expects us to behave and how we've then have behaved for years. And we were just like, let's kind of embrace that. And let's just call ourselves the dumb dads as a like nod to the old dads, but also our comedy is going to be not I don't know the teacher's name. I do know the teacher's name, but I'm very intimidated by her, and like play the reality of like what's really going on with other parents. And that's kind of what's connected with other moms and dads alike.
I love that. I have been one of the parents that didn't know the teacher's name. I am a stay-at-home dad as well. And last year we had Bingy and Blaney were the teachers' names for my kids, and so I could never get. I think it was Bingy,
No.
right? And my
Bingy
daughter's
and
like, "Her
Blaney?
name's Bingy, Dad."
That's I mean, we definitely feel that being Evan and Kevin. Every time I meet somebody, like first you got Evan and Kevin, they're like, okay, you could see on their face, they're like, I'm not going to remember which one is which. It's too similar.
Every once in a while they'll say Kevin and Kyle or Evan and Kyle, and it's like, what are we doing?
We switch your name. We'll call him a different name. It makes things easier.
I did have last year this good moment of like, so I volunteer at the school a lot on the PTA, and I go there, so everybody there knows me, the staff and everything. And I remember one time I was just like signing in, and then some dad walks in, and he's just, hey, I'm here to pick up my daughter. Who's your daughter? Tells him the daughter's name, and then the front desk is like, okay, and pauses for a second. They're really smart. They know like everybody, every kid in what classroom, but she was clearly blanking. She goes, sorry, what's your daughter's teacher? And he just goes, I don't know. And like, I was like signing the thing, and I just like looked up, and the receptionist and I just like met eyes, and we were both like, poof.
Come on, man.
But it was just the confidence with which he was like, I don't know.
Right. At least he's like willing to admit it a little bit, but like still, you're like, maybe try and guess the name,
That's my point. It was the confidence with which he was just like, oh no, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? There's no shame barrier here. It was the confidence. It'd be like, if he was like, I'm so sorry, I don't know. Like that'd be late, but I'm always
Yeah.
Well, being stay-at-home dads, I mean, talking from experience, you kind of get that. I've gotten the look sometimes where people figure out like, oh yeah, he's a stay-at-home dad. Oh, so he does nothing. And I feel like that's such a stigma now. We're like, no, I'm raising the freaking kids.
Yeah. I mean, it made sense when it was like one of the things, like as Kevin said, we're both actors, so it's like you got to kind of be available whenever, throughout the day, if you need to be called into something or whenever. So it's like, so we bartended for a while and worked nights, and but you would get that. And then you had the conversation of like, okay, now the kids, we could put them in like daycare. How much is daycare? I think I'll be a stay-at-home dad.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my salary.
I would need to
Instead of paying somebody else to do it, I'll just do it.
I need to bartend 60 hours a week to have them in daycare.
All night long, every single night. And just come up
They'll probably be in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
or you could just raise them, and we're fortunate enough. We're lucky enough that we were bartending at nights. Our schedules allowed us to do that. Both our wives work during the day. We're not gonna pretend it's like everybody can do it. We were very fortunate situations. And then when COVID hit, we turned this into a business, dads. So we've been fortunate in that regard. But yeah, it is the same. It is like the looks people give are like, okay, so when are you gonna get that job? Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do social media stuff at home for a couple different things, and then I have like a TikTok and stuff that I run for gaming and stuff like that. And so people are always that too, where it's such a new thing for being social media and a content creator. People are like, what do? You just sit around and look at a camera all day? Like, no, there's a lot behind the scenes. Like, I'm very busy when my kids are not home. But it's just such a new thing for people to understand, and especially for like the older generation where my parents are like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to grasp onto that, which sucks because like we all have grown up in the houses where everyone's like, oh, well, the man needs to be the guy who brings the money
Provider.
home and takes care of all the fun stuff. And like, well, things are a little bit different now. It's like I'm still making money, but at the same point where it's like, if I go get a real job, I have to be making $30+ an hour so I can maybe put my kids in daycare after school. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Versus I can stay at
The
home, save
reach
that
is
money.
like, yeah, exactly.
I have often made the joke that, the patriarchy runs everything, men control most of the world. And how did we drop the ball this hard? Like, first of all, like, we're going to work. Like, now that I've done both and stay at home dad, I was like, why didn't we pick this one? This is the more fun one.
Yeah. What is so like, what's not fun about staying around, hanging out with your kids and like doing art projects with them and taking them to the zoo? And like, those were, I mean, in hindsight too, like Kevin said, it was like almost a little bit out of necessity that we chose to be stay-at-home dads. Definitely a choice, but it was like super beneficial to our schedules. And then in hindsight, it was like, man, all those years of, especially infant years and toddler, first step years and toddler years. And it was like, we're always gonna have that time spent with them, and we never would have got it without making that choice. And so, yeah, I feel super fortunate to have basically spent all that time with the kids, especially now. We were just, my wife and I with my son went, like, I was going to call it middle school shopping. That's what it was, middle school shopping. Be like going on the tour of like which middle school you're going to go to. But it's like their little schedules get filled out as well. And it's like, man, they're going to be in high school before you know it. And like, you're not going to see them. Their schedule is going to be so busy. So I know probably as they get older, I'll look back and feel like just so grateful.
Well, that's a conversation I've had with DJ, my co-host. Like he does that where he works a full-time job, and they come home, they're busy all night, so he just feels like he doesn't have a lot of time with his kids. So that's why part of the reason I was like, hey, dude, your dad, like, first, this podcast, if we can't be good dads on the podcast and then fake it at home, like, you got to be speaking or walking in where you're speaking. And so, yeah, like, you lose so much, unfortunately, when you are like just at work full time. Like when I used to work doing self-driving car stuff out here, and I was in a car all day, and by the time we get home, it's like, all right, well, I gotta go with the kids there at daycare. You get home by 6:00, you're like, all right, well, I have an hour with my kids. Good night, love you, see you tomorrow. And then you do the same thing over and over and over, and then you hopefully get a little bit more time on the weekends. But yeah, you gain so much from being a stay-at-home parent, which I know it has a stigma, and it kind of sucks that it has a stigma, but at the same time, like, our kids are going to grow up, I think, better than we did, because they're just going to have that connection with dad versus like with my dad's. I have a stepdad and a dad. I have memories there, but there's not like that full connection. Like, they were always working, or my dad wasn't really there. So it's like I don't have those memories and stuff versus my kids. That's my whole thing, is I just wanted to make, like, dad was always there, And I fully believe that is something that we'll see when they're older.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the things that, somebody said this thing once, and it was hard to do that. You wanted to push back against it, but somebody was basically like, there's this argument. Who loves who more? Do the parents love their kids more? Do the kids love their parents more? And the psychologist was like, your kids love you way more than you will love them. And I know that's hard for some of you. You're getting mad because you're like, oh, obsessed with your kids. I'm not saying you're not, but I'm just saying your kids love you so much. Think about the kids that had such terrible dads, terrible moms. They still want that connection. Like, that's like such a binding love. And you make a lot of, it's good to like forgive it or find, not forgive if it's worth it or worthy of it, but like you see somebody and you can, as you get older, you see where they were coming from, what they were going through. And sometimes it's inexcusable, but what's good about, I think, dads today, parents today, is we know that our kids are going to love us, in a way, no matter what, not no matter what, you know what I mean? But we're also like, but I still want to be better. I still want to, even if you like, I had a good dad, but it's like, I can think of things that I want to do. I want to adjust. I want to be better. I want to be more present. And my dad was present. He was this, my mom, and I don't know how they're still married. They get along great. They always have. But for the first few years of our lives, my mom was working. She was in school, and then she would work nights. And my dad was like, stay at home. And then he would like, I think maybe he got a babysitter, but they were like 12 hours and there were shifts passing in the night.
Yeah.
But still, I think parents today, I think we're thinking about our feelings more. I listened to I don't know when this one's going to come out, but I listened to the last episode about your feelings and how to like regulating and like seeing where that stuff comes from. And I think that is so important. That is something that we do today as parents a lot, whether we're good at recognizing, our outbursts or what makes us mad. But I think we talk to our kids so much more. And it was something my mom said to me. And my mom's always been loving. I've never questioned my mom's love. But she said it to my wife and I early on. Our daughter's like 3, and she's like, you just say I love you a lot. And I was like, yeah. Correct. She's like, it's not a bad she's like, it's not a bad thing. Obviously. I don't know that we said it that much. And I was like, well, Irish Catholic.
That's not hesitating. You didn't.
Irish Catholic. And yeah, it wasn't. That's not in the cards. It's usually one hand on the shoulder while you walk by.
It's called filling a void, mother.
There's this thing you can do. Maybe a squeeze.
Felt the breeze as you walked through the room. It was okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's comforting breeze.
Yeah. There was some warmth to it.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. So it's funny because so my mom and dad, we always did a thing before we went to bed. It was always, good night, love you. And we'd yell it from across the house. My wife always thought that was weird because they didn't do that in their house. And so now as adults, my wife's mom's going to kill me for saying this on the podcast, but my wife was having some health issues a couple weeks ago. And it's the first time we've been together 18 years. In our 18 years together that I've heard her mom say, I love you. And it wasn't in person. It was through a text. After we got out of the hospital and came home, she's like, just so you know, I love you. And she's like, I have to be dying for my mom to say this. Like she was laughing, she was dying. And then her sister came and she's like, yeah, the last time she said, I love you was when we were going through health issues. So it's like, we're going to be dying. And that's the only time we're going to hear our moms. So our kids, I think I say it too much, but it's going to be pressed to their brains that mom and dad love them. And I just think it's funny when things like that, we're like, yeah, I can't remember a time in person I've heard my wife's mom tell her that she loves her, which is crazy.
It seems it's all about what you grew up with. I know people have different ways of showing things, right? It doesn't hurt to hear it, obviously.
Yeah.
But if there's going to be one thing or, takeaway that our kids have, they know that we love them. I just heard this thing the other day too, or I read this post. It was like just the little affirmations that you can say to kids before they go to sleep, even.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love you. You're safe. I see how hard you try. I appreciate you. Little stuff like that. Even if it's kind of thrown away, so they hear it. It's my wife and I talk a lot about this. The internal monologue. We are building their internal monologue as they grow up. And we want to create positive affirmations as a part of that internal monologue.
Yeah.
So, even if you say it a lot or whatever, great. That means they heard it a lot.
Well, it's all about building the repetition. We had Jason Schnitzer on last episode, and we talked about just how the kid's frontal cortex doesn't fully, I can't think of the word, fully mature until we're older. And so your
Yeah.
kids, that's why they outburst, and that's why when they have the big emotions, they don't know what's happening and stuff, that because it's not there. So we kind of have to lend that to our children. And I think with affirmations, it's kind of like that, where if you're just doing it every night, like in my kid's bathroom, they have a affirmation board. And so they see it every morning. So it's just building that over time. And then by the time that things kind of start to mature and stuff in their brains, they're like, oh, this is just secondhand or firsthand, and they just know it. So I really love that.
Yeah, it's very funny. So our oldest is a girl, 9-year-old, and it's so funny because my wife and that's the podcast I was referring to, and they talked about people pleasers, and my wife and I believe Evan too. I mean, definitely Evan is one as well. Like Evan a lot. Like right now, I was thinking of how to apologize for it while I say this. But when it comes to like raising our raising our daughter, like we're so nervous of that, especially with raising women, girls, is like that idea of be polite, be quiet, don't make noise. And it's funny because you see a lot of athletes are the best ones. Like some of the best athletes are so cocky, arrogant, whatever word you want to use. But you're like, yeah, but that confidence is not bad. But like as long as it doesn't like dominate your personality. So it's funny because our daughter will have these moments where we'll say something about like, this is a great drawing. You're a good artist. And she's like, I know. And like a little thing goes up in my brain of like, uh-oh. And my wife and I like resist stamping that out. But then you got to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to be this person who's like, I'm better than everybody. But it's like, you got to like skirt that line as a parent. And it's so hard when you've been a people pleaser when you're just like, I apologize for being here. And they're like, you work here. And I was like, I know, I'm sorry. And it doesn't make sense. But it is funny because then you see them do, my dad will do something very kind out of nowhere, not thinking we're looking or whatever. And it is very like a selfless thing. It's like, okay, good. This is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be building this person that doesn't need to apologize, that, should be proud of who they are, but also helpful. And it's definitely a little difficult as a person who wants to, please everybody and trying not to raise the people pleasers.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. My kids do it too. Like they're, I'm the best at this, or my son will have, confidence in something. I'm so good at this.
Mhm.
Like even all the kids know at school how good at this I am. And it's like, you're not even in the top 3 in the room. There's 4 of us in here.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say that. Yeah. But it's like, I know you're saying skirting the line. It's like, they will learn that somehow. If they are if you say, if it's not sort of like something that you do need to have a conversation where it's like, no matter what anybody says, I know I'm better at them. They're not willing to accept that, oh, maybe that person is a better artist than me. It's better to see that then they can recognize, oh, wow, that is actually very good. I can't do that.
I believe it's called game recognizing game.
Game recognizing game. But like knowing that, like teaching them how to understand that, yeah, there is somebody better than you. If they see that, but you can also get there. That person worked really hard for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so that's achievable. That's not where we are right now. That's totally fine. But that's the difficult thing to teach kids without, like you said, without like kind of stamping out their confidence, which you don't want to do.
Right. You were saying on, I think it was James you said on the last podcast. Jason. He said that thing about the prefrontal cortex. And he's like, theirs isn't developed. So you got to use yours. And I was like going for a walk listening to this podcast. And I was like, man. 8 times somebody's like, you have to be the adult. It's like, right. I just do it. It's just that I do a lot of adulting as it is. I don't think I'm good at any of this.
Like, what if I don't have it? What if I can't load it?
No. Yes, that is.
How do I know if I've developed or not?
That's something I say a lot when somebody just goes, you're raising great kids. And I go, we'll see. Like, I think they're great, but like at 18, they say you're doing a good job. That's what it is. You're doing a great job. Like, we'll see. I see when they sit me down at 24, 25, and they're like, I have notes.
And you're like, I love you. And they're like, oh my God, I'm trying. Can I just start a sentence without you saying it?
Yeah.
Okay, I love you. I'm sorry.
Well, just kind of like going off that, like with my kids, it's kind of funny because like you'll have my son be like, Dad, I just did this thing. And then instantly, like you have that little bit of competition in siblings to where like, well, I can do that better. Like,
yep.
Mm-hmm. I know you. I love you. No, you can't. So like my son is very much into, like, they want to be YouTubers. And my son, he's really good at Minecraft, Fortnite. He's like stupid at, like, I've tried playing with him and it's not a competition. Like, I just suck. And then my daughter's like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber too. I was like, okay, what do you want to do, babe? You want to do art? Because she's pretty good. It's like, I want to be Fortnite. Okay, babe, but listen. She's like, and I want to use a keyboard. I'm like, all right, let's listen. Like, you barely use a computer as it is. Let's take a step back. She's like, but brother can do it. Like, okay, brother can do it. Yeah, we can try and do it. But I think it is like that, where kind of like what you're saying, where they can have all the confidence in the world, and it is our job as parents to nurture that. But at the same time, we have to be like, well, because brother, you want to be like brother. Like, here's how we get there. Just because brother can do it at the moment, you want to do it. Let's work on it. So I think it does come with a little bit of hardship sometimes, not hardship, but like that's the hard part of parenting. You have to find that thin line, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teaching them the hard work, that's the hardest part, I think. It's one of the things that I think about a lot. Is like, how do I teach hard work? How do I teach? Because it's like brother didn't wake up and was able to do that out of nowhere.
yeah,
Like brother played, brother plays. Like, so you have to spend the time.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation as you. Daughter's older. She loves drawing. She's really good at it, really talented. And it's funny. We'll take even the same picture. This didn't happen with the same picture, but this has happened where I have to talk to both of them, not at the same time, at different times about different things, but usually about like a drawing. So my son will draw something, and then she'll draw, my daughter will draw something. I'm like, guys, these are both great. And then my son might get upset and be like, it's not as good as hers. And I have to be like, buddy, you're 6. She's 9. She's been doing that since 6. This is great for what you're doing. And then she doesn't do it anymore, but I remember she did it early on, where I said, this is a great drawing. And he walked away. And she was like, it's not very good. And I was like, he's 6. You want to see your drawings at 6? And I wasn't doing it in a mean way. I was doing it like, yeah, do you want to see where you were at? You were at about this level. And she was like, oh, really? And I was like eye-opening for her. And it was a good moment for her to be like, this is great for what it is. And it's not like, and when I say what it is, I mean like his experience, his abilities, like his age, all that stuff. You got to factor that in. And I think something that's been really great for my daughter, great for me to see in my daughter, is we've dabbled in a lot of sports, and you don't like it, we'll finish this and get out. Finish whatever the session, and whatever it's like, let's stay at the YMCA. All right, let's finish this month, and then when we have to re-up, we won't do it. Or all these things. And my daughter really took to swimming, and that's what I feel like it's been a great thing, and it's really been eye-opening. I did sports growing up. It's funny, my dad was very athletic, but he was very respectful of us not wanting to do things. So like if we did t-ball, didn't finish the season. We did soccer, finish the season. I did basketball, but I never really like practiced or whatever. So he never really pursued like past before high school. After high school, I never played, or during high school. My point is, my dad kind of regretted that, and I don't blame him for it. I get it if they were pushing back.
Like, he regretted not like kind of making you play a sport.
Pushing us on a little bit on something. As we were like, I don't like this. I ended the season. And my daughter had the same thing with swim. I don't like this. And I said, okay, well, let's finish up the season, and then we can talk about it. I didn't say we're done. She's like, okay. And then she placed like second overall in her like age group and whatever, and that got her jazzed up, and now she's into it. And I think something that's great for her confidence, was great with, and I'm not a sports guy, but what's great with sports with kids and growing their confidence is she had her first meet like a month ago, and now she's 9. So now she's in a higher bracket. She's in the bottom now of that, because it's like 9 to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And she turned 9 in June, so she's like a pretty fresh 9. So she got like hosed in her like both her races, and she wasn't upset. She wasn't mad. She was just like, I'm racing my own time, beat my own time. I'm working on it. She's a really good swimmer. Like I watch her, and I'm like, man, you got great form, all that stuff. And I just think it's a good thing. That's like one of the things that I think helps instill kids, because it is, as you're saying, so hard to instill that and ride that line and have them be, confident in themselves but not overconfident, and especially with siblings, It's interesting.
That is the best word, interesting. But I like that because like I'm kind of going on the same thing with my kids right now where we're like, all right, what do you want to do? Do you want to do sports? Do you want to go art classes? Do you want to do coding class? My son, he's like, I want to make a video game one day. Like, okay, well, let's start learning young because I wish my parents would have, put me in front of things like this now when I was younger because then I'd
100%.
be blossoming instead of trying to figure out things as I'm getting older and stupider. Um, And so we put him, my son was in soccer this summer and he's like, he was all for it. Messy, everything. He had a messy jersey, messy shoes, everything. Which if your kid's into messy, that is the best just opening for a dad joke. I get him every freaking time he wears a messy shirt. Like, dude, you can't wear that shirt. Why, Dad? Because it's messy. Haha. And he hates it, but I love it.
It's for you. It's never for them. It's ever for them.
But like the same thing where it's like, all right, well, if you don't like it, that's fine, but we're gonna finish it. And then who knows what'll happen. Because they'll make friends or they'll make a goal. He ended up landing on his face really hard in the last game. So he's like, no, I'm done with this. But we're trying new things. So it's like right now we're in that middle where we're trying to like, all right, what's next? But I do like that where it's like, at least have them finish it because then they're going to build that confidence too. Like, well, I can finish this instead of like, well, I can quit when I want to,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Rather than teaching them to quit something immediately with the moment they are uncomfortable or don't like it, that's going to be the more learning. That's going to be the learned behavior while trying to find something.
And it's
and that's going to be if that's the default, then that's a risky game to play. And if they don't like any sports at all, that's fine. But as you said, you taught them to finish something that they started. And then they can reflect on it. You can't really reflect, oh, I didn't really like soccer. Oh, you didn't like soccer? Yeah, I mean, I played for like 2 weeks. And I really didn't like it. It's like, how should you even learn about it if you only play for 2 weeks? You can't really reflect on it.
You ever learned a board game? It's horrible the first time.
That book sucked. I didn't even the cover was dumb.
Yep.
That's like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
No, because I think that, it also pushes them outside of just that one feeling, right? Like he falls on his face. I don't want to do this anymore. Sure. I would want to do anything that made me fall on my face. And if you get to quit it there, then all you know it for is like, it's awful to fall on the face. It's like a terrible sport. Nobody should play it. But it's like, why don't you play the whole season? You're still allowed to hate it. You're still allowed to think this is miserable, but you'll have a broader perspective. It also teaches you responsibility too, as we're all saying, finish what you started. I feel like that's a good key to teach kids too, is like, all right, there's going to be things in life that won't get better. Like you won't come out of it going, it's all right. There are going to be things that like start to finish were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you said you were going to do something, if you promise someone you're going to do something, you signed up for something, you got to do the respectful thing, finish it out, And I think that's also.
You know how many times Messi fell on his face?
Yep.
They don't have those highlights.
Right.
But he did.
I'm pretty sure they're out there.
I mean, speaking of, him falling on his face, it's not, I wouldn't even say necessarily physically, but it was more about like the hump getting over of winning the World Cup for Argentina. Messi is like, especially for a country like Argentina, how important soccer is. Like, it's everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time they'd ever won it before was Maradona. And now they have this Messi kid who's like one of, if not the best player in the world for like 15 years in a row. But they won everything else, domestically, but never won a World Cup. And it finally gets it done. And it's like, now he'll be like a god in Argentina for the rest of his life. It's like, how many times did they go into a tournament almost favored and then get bumped in like the first round or like, the first knockout match, they get bumped. It's like, man, maybe he just can't do it. Like that is an immense amount of falling on your face in front of millions and millions of people and then just going, all right, do it again, try it again. That's the thing at least I appreciate about Messi. He's all right at soccer, but
did all of the listeners clock when Evan said this Messi kid? Is that it?
Yep, this Messi kid. Yep.
Well, he was a Messi kid, and he had this like moppy haircut.
Oh, it's funny too. Like my son, like we'll watch the games and stuff, but he'll watch, and he doesn't watch any other team. It's just Messi, and he'll go to people like we have a friend who's a big soccer fan, and he'll just go and be like, Messi's better than Ronaldo.
Oh my gosh,
you don't watch Ronaldo at all. How do you know this?
My son doesn't watch any of it. Says that.
Yeah.
It's like because kids at school say it, and I was like, Rivera.
Like, in what way? In what way is he better? They play different positions and a different. I mean, that's the other thing about Messi was like he was so little.
Mm-hmm.
He was like so little that they were like, "No, you can't. You're not." Like
It is
until he joined the Barcelona academy, it's because he got rejected by like the where he wanted to go or whatever. And they're like, "You're too little.
Yeah.
You'll never be good enough because you're just too little."
He's
Sorry,
very
like,
small.
sorry, bringing back my memories. I don't know. I don't know where I went just now. My voice, that sentence brought me somewhere. Sorry.
There was a cardboard cutout. I have a picture of my son with it of Messi at Home Depot because they were doing like some kind of like brand deal or something, and it was like the size of my son. He's like, "Man, this is a weird little cardboard." I was like, "That's his full size," but he's like, "He's so small." Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's just. I mean, that's the part of parenting that people don't want to talk about. Everyone's like, "Well, I want to have kids. It's going to fix this and this," but then they don't want to talk about what comes with that, and I'm not gonna say hardships because I don't think it's hardships. I think being a dad is one of the best things in the world. I think it's so much fun because they get past a certain point. Like you have the kids when they're little, you don't sleep. You're like, oh, this sucks. Or like, oh, you have to go through that. It's like any job. Like you're learning the ropes. It's this new thing that you've never done, and you can read all the books you want, but then none of that matters because as soon as you're staying up for a week and you're in this different mindset, and that's when it finally clicks. Like, all right, well, I guess I'm in this now. That's what people don't talk about. But it's cool to kind of talk this. That's what the whole podcast is about. Is just like how our journeys are all different, but there's so much similarities to it. And we all pretty much go through the same things at the end of the day. But it's all still about finding, all right, what works best in my house? What works best in this person's house? Just taking that approach and talking about fatherhood is so important nowadays because not a lot of people growing up and like with our parents talked about it. And I think that's why there's a stigma where it's just like, well, dad just needs to shut up in the corner and then come in when he needs to discipline the kids. Like that's not it nowadays. So thank you guys for taking, a different approach, a funny approach to being dads and putting it out there. Cause like, there's just not enough out there in the world to talk.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you
for
so
saying
much. And yeah, to any dads listening, like we said, we started this not from any position of like, that'd be great if we like, it'd be cool if we did this. We were just stay-at-home dads telling stories that we were experiencing, telling jokes from like stuff that's happened to us, and the amount of outpouring of people saying like, I relate to this, or oh my gosh, this is me, and stuff was just like, oh, we're all going through this together, and that is something we're constantly learning and adapting to. We'll get messages from a stay-at-home dad in Oklahoma, and it's just like, oh yeah, they're everywhere. A lot of the stay-at-home dads are kind of on the coast, so everybody kind of thinks like, oh, whatever. But it's everywhere. Everybody's adjusting. Everybody's doing different lifestyles, and parenting is just a lot of figuring it out. The big part of it is, realizing you're not the hero of the story anymore. Everybody is. That's most of what the internet is. People yelling at each other because they're like, "I'm the hero," and it's like, you're a parent. It's like, no, you're the side character. They're the hero now. Like
Messi's the hero.
Yeah, Messi's the hero. And but then also the other side to it is taking care of yourself, which is another thing Evan and I talk a lot about. Is just because you're the side character doesn't mean you shouldn't care about your interests and take care of yourself, because you need to be healthy for them to be healthy and to raise them healthy. So that's just the stuff we're trying to do.
That's right. And you know what? Fall on your face every day, get up and do it again and laugh about it. I mean, that's pretty much what our entire page is. It's like just recognizing that, yeah, we're going to make mistakes. That's fine. Just do your best to learn about them, laugh about them, move on.
And listen, if you want to quit parenting, let's just finish out this child's life. And then you can talk about it. We can talk about it.
We'll have a conversation about it.
Let's finish raising this kid first, and then we'll talk about it.
Well, if people want to reach out or find you guys, where can they find you guys?
We are at The Dumb Dads on pretty much everywhere on social media.
Yeah. As well, The Dumb Dads, our podcast is on a little bit of a break right now, but it's going to come back. We're kind of revamping it, but that's soon. It's The Dumb Dad podcast. You haven't listened to it? Subscribe. There's 300 episodes, so you can catch up while we're setting up, and we're coming back soon.
Awesome. For any dads listening, I mean, I know we talked a lot about, but is there any like one key? There you go. I should get my pug in here.
There he is.
Is there one like key advice that you could give any dad listening that might be, in their early stages or in their older stages, and they're still just like, oh, I can't figure this out?
Talk about it. Talk about your experience with other dads.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of I think one thing, I'm not saying women don't have this. Obviously some do, but I think it's definitely unfortunately a little bit more of an inherent men thing where we're similar to our kids in that we're not good at something and we kind of shut down. And then we just think we're failures and we don't want to talk about it. And I think moms and women, the mic's close enough. Thank you, sir. That's good. I think moms, they're known for having the Facebook groups, for having, talking to each other at the playground and stuff. And we all we'll see a dad and it's nice weather, right? It's supposed to rain, we really need it. And that's about it. And I think, talk about it, own it. You were never a parent before. You're a parent now. Don't, like you just said about anything, don't expect to be great at it, but you got to ask questions. You got to be willing to learn. And don't get frustrated with yourself because, I think the biggest thing I've learned as a parent is that you can talk to your kids about what you're going through. And I think that's the best thing that's ever happened. I've not handled stuff great with my kids, and I go into a room and I talk to them and I say, hey, sorry about earlier. I'm a little frustrated. I have this going on, with whatever. Dumb dads, this is going on with the car or whatever. And, I kind of snapped a little bit, how are you doing? And I think when we realize that our kids, we're raising them to be adults, we're raising them to be human beings. And I think part of that is teaching them a healthy relationship. And a healthy relationship is talking to your partner, talking to your friends, talking to other dads, talking to your kids. There's nothing wrong with sharing. They're not going to be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Believe me, they know. And I think the communication, finding out how to work to get better with each other is the best way.
How about that for a frontal lobe?
Just share it. Just give it to your kids.
That's right.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. For anyone listening, go check them out. DJ should be back in 2 weeks, hopefully. For everyone that misses DJ, I miss DJ.
We miss DJ.
So if everyone listening, thank you for listening as always. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. And make sure to like and subscribe because it's very important. Love you guys.